very formal way, trying to get everybody's input, all the elected officials input, Parks Board input, staff input, community input, civic group input. So thanks to everybody for helping fund this and make this happen. Tonight is a workshop to do a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So this is your time to the Parks Board and the Board of Mayor and Aldermen to look at our staff and our department and tell us how good we are in some areas and how bad we are in some areas, and where we can improve and where we need to improve. So I can assure you that we will take any praise with a grain of salt and any criticism with a grain of salt. I appreciate all of you all who have taken your time already to speak with the folks at Kimley Horn, and I really appreciate you giving your time tonight. We have with us from Kimley Horn, Alicia Ely and Ben Baker, who have been working. I don't think even myself, I realized how many different groups of people are stakeholders in our parks until we've spent the last 2 weeks on about 20 hours of Zoom interviews with all those people to try to assess needs and do the same thing that we're doing tonight with you all. So I'll introduce Alicia, and I will sit down and shut up and just listen from here on, less called upon. So thank you all.
All right. Thank you all very much. Very excited for this. We are here to facilitate. So I've got a couple of slides, but definitely here to listen. Ben is here with me and going to take some great notes. And so we're going to go over our project scope with you all, just to kind of understand what it is we're doing as a part of the master plan, so that when we're talking about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, you understand it's the full umbrella of everything that the park system involves. And so want to make sure first and foremost, you all are aware, hopefully you've seen on social media and printed flyers and other resources, we've got a public input survey. This is a huge piece to this master plan. Annie didn't mention that this is a part of a grant requirement. And so TDEC is facilitating that grant, and they are very much interested in not only what you all think is important, but most importantly, what the public thinks. And so I will say they've done a great job in getting this out. You all have broken any records. We've done countless master plans, and you all have over 1,300 responses in the first week and a half. So when staff has asked us how that compares, we don't get to 1,300 in 30 days of any similarly sized communities, you name it. Nobody's gotten to that amount. So needless to say, y'all have done a great job. So thank you. But make sure there's a QR code. You can even, take a screenshot right now and maybe not multitask during this conversation, but you can take it after our meeting's done this afternoon.
Ashley, can somebody watching this on Zoom snap that QR code?
Correct.
Sweet. Okay.
Correct. And then if that's not working for whatever reason, the link is right here as well, up above it. And I believe Parks has posted it multiple times on their social media, city social media as well. So definitely want to make sure we get everybody's feedback on the survey.
Hold on.
Sure, that's a great question. Typically we do about 30 days. We feel like at that point, everybody's gotten the word out and have, sent an initial reminder, follow-up reminders. We try to do about a 30 days. We are condensed with this schedule. The master plan needs to be finalized and approved by July in order to meet the grant requirements, but we expect middle of April would be sufficient. Again, we've gotten a great response so far. If we hear feedback from park staff or from you all or anyone saying, hey, we've missed a group and we need to give them additional time, we're flexible. Again, we're just here facilitating your guys' master plan. So we're trying to shoot for that middle of April timeframe. All right, so our scope of this master plan, as I mentioned, TDEC in particular wants to understand what the community wants to see that major stakeholder engagement. And so Andy alluded to our many hours of stakeholder interviews, staff interviews. We were here all day today, every 30 minutes, cycling through a new set of staff that we were able to hear from them. And we've held several stakeholder days of interviews via Zoom as well. And so we've gotten great input throughout that. We've obviously got tonight's SWOT analysis with BOMA and the Parks Board, and appreciate your all's time this evening. We've got the public survey, as I mentioned, and then we'll also be back to present highlights from both the draft plan for feedback and then that final plan for approval. And then tomorrow we'll be visiting all the sites as well to understand fully those existing facilities. We're looking at demographics, both current but also 10 years projected. This is essentially a 10-year vision. And so we're looking at what the city of Hendersonville, if we have a crystal ball, is close to what we can tell for growth and change over the next 10 years, because ultimately that's what we're planning for. We're looking at both existing conditions as well as benchmarking, which is essentially looking at peer communities. And so Andy and his team has selected some peer communities that are similar in population and what they provide their communities. And we're benchmarking them against those communities as well as at a national level. We're evaluating staffing and programming. We're looking at financial analysis and revenue strategies. And then finally, it really boils down to that implementation plan where all of the other information feeds into what we need to do over a period of time and how we do that. We don't want to give you all a plan that says, all right, here you go, good luck. We want to help you partner together with grants and sponsorships and other funding strategies to help implement the recommendations that we're hearing from the public, from you all tonight. And other key stakeholders. So any questions about our scope before we dive into our SWOT? All right, perfect. So Andy mentioned strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so we want to dive in and again, we're here facilitating it. I do have a couple of questions if you all are shy and not eager to share particular probably weaknesses, but no hurt feelings here. And so when you think of the park system as a whole, existing facilities, staff, maintenance, operations, et cetera, what do you think of when you hear strengths regarding the parks department?
Karen, you want to? Hold on, hit the button again, just a second. Hold on. Jason, what do we, hold on, just don't. No.
I can stand.
Yeah. So when Jason came in a little while ago, our IT guy.
Mayor, we can't hear you.
Pressures now.
There you go.
Mhm.
No. Jason, do I need to get on?
Nope.
It went away. Am I good? Okay. So what I think about in terms of our parks and for strengths, I think a real strength is that we have a seasoned director who knows our city well. I think that is a huge strength for us. I also think that the employees as a whole is the absolute same. Do you want me to keep going? Because I have a couple more. Do you want me to just
Absolutely.
give somebody? Okay. I think our lake setting for Hendersonville by the lake is a huge strength for us. And all of the green space that and land available that we have and own as a city. A lot of cities don't have that luxury, and we do. And I think that's all I have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, really? So should I just leave this alone? Okay, gotcha. Anybody else? Lee, go ahead.
Does this work?
Yes, you're talking. Oh, you were. Hit it again.
Hit it again until it turns red.
Yes.
There you go.
Just hit it. Still turn. Push it once.
There you go.
Okay, try it.
You want me to just hold it down? I have a strength, and it comes from someone who uses the park.
Right.
My kids have been involved with the sports programs, and we're thrilled to death that we have the abundant of parks and soccer, baseball, softball, frisbee golf. I could go down the list, but we've used our kids have been involved um, in rec, club, school, sports, and I just think hands down we have one of the best park systems in the South. We have tournaments, people coming from all over the place to play in our parks, and that generates revenue. Being new on the board, I'm seeing all the ripple effects from the parks, which far exceed just my family's use, and just couldn't be prouder of the facilities that we have, and the staff that keep them clean and well maintained, and it's something that we should all be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Alderman Petrelli.
Thank you, Mayor. I think one of our strengths is the proactiveness of our Parks Director and the department members. We've, obviously our Parks Department, our fields, our different areas are stellar, but we've also had some very unique events in our community in the last couple of years that I think have really put a bright light on our city. And, being a politician, we hear from all kinds of folks about different departments. I have never received a complaint about our Parks Department. So I greatly appreciate all the professionalism that our Parks Department strives for, and just the expertise that they give every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Hayes.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The leadership from the director, our assistant directors, all the way through the entire department. Also, this board, this Parks Board, if you ever watch them and you go to some of the meetings, they have fun, but they also take it very serious. And in these last couple of days with all these heavy rains and the flooding, again, I see our Parks Department step up and try to be protecting all of our assets. So they're also understand being great stewards of our city's assets. And last but not least, because our city is doing great when it comes to sales taxes, and all of our local people, they shop here and add to our sales tax base, but also because of our park system, it's an attraction for outsiders who also come here, spend their money, go to dinner, fill up the gas tank, and then but then they leave, or maybe they spend a few nights at the hotel. So that is just a great asset also in terms of bringing in revenue. Thank you.
Jonathan, thank you. Eddie?
Yeah, I would say ditto to what everybody is saying, but I'll try to find two new areas. One is, I think that we have, one of our strengths is we have Sanders Park by the lake. And maybe I'll talk about that under opportunities as well. But that's a wonderful facility, especially for concerts. It's not near residential, so you're not going to get complaints from residents. And it's just a wonderful strength that we have. And then the second thing is we really have a premier golf course, a municipal golf course. A lot of cities have golf courses, but it can't rival what we have. So I think that's a unique strength that we have as well. Thank you.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. Alderman Hayes, thank you. I sort of want to hit on a couple things a couple people have mentioned. I think overall the diversity of our facilities, we have everything from frisbee golf to fishing to, I mean a turf baseball field. And I love that we have the diversity of opportunities, the way I look at it, for kids and for adults to succeed. and to provide those facilities for them gives more opportunities for especially kids to succeed. Jeremiah.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry, a little delay right there. Echoing on what Karen said originally, we have a fantastic department with our director all the way down to the experience of the staff. That's evident in what happened the past couple of days with the flooding. One thing that we need to also understand is that we have a fantastic facility called Mary's Magical Place that is state of the art and incredible and brings people in from all over the area. And lastly is we have that beautiful lake too. So we have some really good strengths in this town, and glad to see what we can do for the next 10 to 15 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Push the button.
Oh, there you go. Now you're good.
Okay. I also want to add that I think the diversity that we have in our offerings is really wonderful, particularly that we've started to provide concerts, because that is the musical heritage of Hendersonville is something that's very unique to Hendersonville. And one of the things that you look for when you're parenting is you want your children to feel like they have something special to come home to when they're done with college, because you'd hope they would move back here. And so having those things that are special about Hendersonville and really highlighting them, we're distinct from other communities, is really important. And I think that the Parks Department has done a great job with that.
Alicia, I think you can move on. Thank you.
Do I need to push my microphone?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Good call.
All right. So just a couple questions to make sure we cover everything. I think a lot of great responses. Strengths is always the easiest question to answer. Yeah. Okay. So Keith just wanted to hear everything twice. That's all. Sorry. What about main achievements over the past couple of years? Somebody mentioned Mary's Magical Place. Any other more recent, last 3 years of achievements that someone wants to mention? Okay. Perfect. Anything else? Recent achievements? What about, yes, sir.
One thing that I don't know if y'all saw, the boy, if it works out, I think it's going to at the time. We just passed something this last board meeting. We actually have a group coming here from Utah. Their whole, it's like they're going all over the United States doing it. And it's a walk for first responders. We're one of the cities in Tennessee they picked, and they're going all over the nation, finishing up in New York with this. And I mean, to get things like that, I just think it speaks volumes for what we're doing here. From the staff, the Parks Board, to this board right here. And not every city is going to get something like that. I mean, it's going to bring a lot of people here for that, and just an honor for them to pick this city to have something like that. I think it speaks volumes for what we're doing.
Mike, thank you. Hold on one second, Lee. Dr. Tom.
Yeah, one of the I think major strengths in the staff of the Parks Department works really hard at this, but we've got just tremendous partnerships with with organizations that run really top-notch recreational leagues, from Sumner County Rugby, Softball League, Hendersonville Inline Hockey, Lacrosse, Hendersonville Soccer Club, Tennessee United, and of course Civitan. I mean, we have some really great organizations that really do an awesome job running these leagues. Of course, Hendersonville Officials Association. I mean, there's just some really great partnerships that have a fantastic relationship with Andy and his team. So I just wanted to point them out because they're definitely a part of the mix that make our parks so good.
Thank you for that. Let's go to, hold on, Jimmy, I'll come to you in just a second. Let's go to Alderman Peterson.
I just want to mention our Independence Day celebration. I think that's really put Hendersonville on the map, just by the sheer volume of people that we have and the music involved, and just the event for families, and the music, the firework display itself. I just think that's something that, we're all proud to be able to share with, not just Hendersonville, but neighboring communities. And I think that's the feather in our cap as far as the parks go, something that we can, during non-COVID, of course, but something that we all look forward to and get to share every year with our family and the community.
Alderman Peterson, thank you. Alderman Robertson.
Yeah, I just forgot to mention, and Tom reminded me, is the rugby. That's a real successful. And the reason it's so successful is, I mean, the city didn't have to put a lot of money in, and we provided, well, the land was given to the city even. So that's an example of where we were creative in finding finances. The community came forward, and now we have two great facilities that have the potential of attracting rugby tournaments, from all over the South. So I wanted to add that as a strength as well.
Alderman Robertson, thank you. Let's go to Jimmy Head.
Yeah, I'd like to add, if you just take a look at the.
Jimmy, we can't hear you real well. Jason, is that on his end? Hold on.
Can you hear me now?
Okay. Jimmy, try again.
How about now?
Oh, still not good.
All right. I'll send my comments to Nathan, and Nathan can tell him.
Actually, what you just said, we could hear real well. So go ahead if you want to go from there.
All right. I was just saying, take a look at the special events list that we have every year at the park, for all the parks. It gets bigger and bigger every year. We've got World Series tournaments, nationals for softball. All the major events that we bring into the park every year is a very big strength because of the facilities that we provide. I mean, our facilities are A+ compared to most parks around us.
Jimmy, thank you. Alderman Petrelli.
Thank you, Mayor. I think that our park system is continuing to grow, and not just with little connectors, which is fabulous, but really growing with the Beatty Farm. Having a vibrant park system that is growing and not shrinking is a great positive for our city to attract people and retain them in this area. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Petrelli. Alderman Edwards.
No, I was going to mention, Mr. Head mentioned it, the special events. So I'm glad he did. And with the hometown jam, and I think we have a fishing tournament coming up. So that's definitely one of our strengths. And I'm looking forward to all of that opening back up this year and being able to attend all those, including the July 3rd fireworks event.
Alderman Edwards, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Bubba.
Yeah, just gonna bring up something about the early morning folks in our town. We've got a real strong Hendersonville running club out here, several running clubs.
Most of us never see them.
No, you don't, because you guys that are sleeping late, you don't see all this. But we've got a huge community of runners that every week somebody comes up to me wanting to do a 5K run for some sort of special purpose. But they come to us because of Greenway and this parks department. That's what I want to do.
Appreciate that, Bubba. Alicia?
All right, perfect. Let's go on to maybe the hardest question. What are those weaknesses? And let me tell you, in all of our conversations that parks have been a part of, that the staff has been a part of with our civic organizations and interviews today and all, they're very humble and they are willing and want that feedback. And ultimately, as a part of the master plan, I think what's going to set it apart from any other city master plans is what is that constructive criticism? We've heard lots of great feedback, but there's definitely, opportunities there. And so what are those weaknesses that we need to address in this plan. I know, not as fun of a topic.
Oh, I'll go first. Sorry.
Go ahead, Karen.
And-
Alderman Dixon.
And, it's really not bad feedback. It's just what it is, right? And it's a weakness is money to maintain. We have these beautiful parks, but it also costs us money as a city. And I'm sorry, but that is a weakness in my opinion, that maybe we don't overcome it, but it should be on the SWOT analysis. And the fact that we do have quite a few of our parks in flood areas. That is a big one for me. That's all I have. Thanks.
Alderman Dixon, thank you. Alderman Hayes.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to say, just especially it's fresh on our mind after this heavy rain that we just had. And I know the department is just working overtime to clean up and get everything back to normal, and we're moving things as fast as we can out of those flood areas. But it's a real struggle, and
Still a weakness.
appreciate everything our Parks Department has done to bounce back.
Alderman Hayes, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Alderman Collins? Oh, you turned, hold on, hit it again. There you go, now you're good.
While that is a struggle and a weakness, it is also a strength because it floods, because it's on the lake. And not many communities have playgrounds and volleyball courts right on the water the way that we do. So it's lots of things like that come with a cost. But another small weakness is that was revealed by the COVID pandemic is that we had been relying on prisoners or volunteer work to do quite a bit of the work in the parks, and it's free. But then when we don't have access to that labor force, we're really put in a bind.
Alderman Collins, thank you. Alderman Peterson.
I will bring up the T word, traffic, especially in Drakes Creek Park after tournaments. The police work really well to direct traffic in and out of the park, but it does concern me in case there's a medical emergency that first responders can't get in and out with the sheer amount of traffic, especially on a Saturday or when there's a tournament. The park is jam packed and there's lack of parking. And, I think it speaks to the success of our programs to have that many people involved. But, I hear about it. I've been grumbling for 15 years on Saturdays coming in and out of the park. But it's just something that I've gotten used to. But people are always asking me, can we get another access road out of the park? Or, would it be better to have a light there at Demas? Or, there's something that, I don't think there's any simple answer, but it is the big elephant in the room. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Alderman Petrelli.
Thank you, Mayor. There I am. Okay. I'll piggyback off of Alderman Peterson's comments. Egress is an issue, especially in Drakes Creek Park. I wish opportunities had been taken years ago to maybe connect in the back part of the park, but I know that's challenging. But on the upside, I would like to thank our Parks Director and our public safety chiefs. We do have the ATVs to make sure that anybody in an emergency situation can quickly be escorted out of the park. I also appreciate Director Gilly and his staff working so hard to stagger some of the events over there, the sporting events, to alleviate some of the traffic concerns. But it's a very difficult subject matter, but egress in some of the parks, even Saunders Ferry Park, it's one way in, one way out. We do have a little project going on down there to kind of smooth out and make it more pedestrian friendly for the folks that live over there. But I think we need to keep up better better condition of those areas. Like for instance, Saunders Ferry Park, making sure that that stays paved whenever necessary. I mean, that's a high traffic area. Beatty Farm, it's just egress in town is a little bit peculiar at times, but Drake's Creek, especially, if there was another way to create some type of an in out, that would be fabulous. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Petrelli. Alderman Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a few comments. Our park system is wonderful, but we always have room for improvement. What I'm concerned about is several things, and one of them is, and I want to echo what previous alderman had mentioned about the maintenance of our assets. That we need to make sure that they're in tip-top shape at all times. We have a lot of out-of-towners always coming. That parking lot at Drake's Creek is a complete disaster. There's like huge holes in it, and we have multiple ball tournaments there at all times throughout the at least 8 or 9 months out of the year. So we need to show the people that are participating in these tournaments that we care about our parks and we're going to take care of them. So that would be one thing. And then the other is some time ago we had to maintain our clubhouse at our golf course, and I'm not sure if the golf course is going to be part of this study or not, but the maintenance of the clubhouse and how we need to better capitalize on the usage of that clubhouse to bring in more revenue, more of a revenue stream there, but also maintain the appearance of it. Make sure it has a fresh coat of paint, make sure there's no rotting wood, make sure that all the indoor and outdoor facilities in that clubhouse are properly maintained and they look nice. They just have a nice appearance. The other thing is, I don't think we are, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, Mayor. We're not capitalizing on our lake. You either have to live on the lake or own a boat to really take advantage of our lake. And a lot of our lake is surrounded by our parks. So maybe devise some type of other, I know we have the Greenway, at the Saunders Ferry, I think, that plan, and that's been taking quite a while to accomplish there. Well, that might improve on the accessibility there. But like I said, if you don't live on the lake or own a boat, you really don't enjoy the lake. And we have many residents here that would like that, and maybe possibly be able to have some water sports activities, some maybe rental paddle boats, and I'm just, or maybe even some rental boats. I remember a couple of years ago, we had some out of town guests and they wanted to take kind of a ride around the lake. Well, we had to go to Old Hickory to rent a pontoon boat because there's no availability here of anything like that. And we have, I think, a huge amount, I know we have a huge amount of lakefront property and lakefront frontage here in the city. So that might be something that we may want to look at to improve the accessibility of that and capitalize on the lake. And those are my suggestions, but I'm sure we'll be, moving in those directions. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Cunningham, thank you. Jeremiah.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief. The one thing that I've seen over many years of being here is that we have great facilities. However, our population has grown tremendously. And while our staff does a great job in coordinating times for tournaments, events, we just have a ton of people now in the city. So one of my weaknesses that I see is, do we have enough fields in play for soccer, for baseball, softball, flag football, for that matter? I know we do have some land around, Maybe it's something that we need to look at to alleviate the stress of the ingress egress at Drake's Creek, because I have seen some issues with medical vehicles get back there many times. But thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Alicia, I think we're good.
All right, thank you. Definitely appreciate the feedback. We talked about weaknesses, improvements, anything about programming. I know we talked mostly about facilities and improvements there. Any ideas or suggestions on groups maybe that we're not providing programming for? Anything you see other communities provide that maybe we should consider here?
This is sort of on that topic. When I mentioned earlier, I think it's important for us to provide opportunity for kids to succeed. Sometimes that doesn't mean that we actually provide the facilities. I'm thinking about bowling. I'm thinking about ice hockey. I'm thinking about other facilities that might be needed. But I personally don't care if the city owns them. I personally don't care if the city runs them. But I want them here.
Sure.
And so that sort of fits in this. It sort of does, sort of doesn't. But I think at some point we got to mention it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alderman Robertson.
Yeah, as far as support for organizations, I would like to see us do a little better job in helping with some of the capital cost of rugby. I think that we have a real great potential in rugby. Most of the expenses there have been covered by the league or by the organization. So, in my discussions with some of the people there, they feel like maybe they'd like a little more financial support, like in building bathrooms and stuff like that. And I know that we're all stretched thin, but I think that that's one area where support of organizations that we could do a better job.
I don't see anybody else, Alicia.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Let's talk about opportunities then, especially as it relates to some of those weaknesses. Any way to take those and turn them into.
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Dr. Tom, did you want to talk on that last item?
Yeah, just real fast. Thank you.
I apologize. Go ahead.
Not a problem. I think it'd be remiss to say, as far as facilities, and I know we wanted to move on to other things, but lack of indoor spaces, particularly as it relates to soccer and tennis, to have as large, two of the largest, clubs, soccer programs in the Mid-South, and to not have indoor facilities of some sort. When we have a tremendous amount of rain this past winter, many of the clubs had to go down to Nashville for it. And I see that as it obviously could be an opportunity, but I think that certainly is a great weakness in our service availability. The other question as far as programming, we have this wonderful Mary's Magical Place, and I know the idea with Mary's Magical Place is obviously where families with needs can play alongside able children. But it seems to be that the popularity of that, obviously with it being so much of a unique facility, makes it very difficult for families who do have needs to, oftentimes are waiting to play on equipment that was specifically designed and built for a kid in a wheelchair, for example, and they're waiting. And I know that's a good problem to have because it's a popular facility. And I know that's a challenge, but it definitely seems to be, something that I think can be addressed.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate it. I think we're back to you, Alicia.
Sure. All right. So let's talk about opportunities. What are those opportunities that we need to leverage moving forward?
Mayor Clary, can I say something?
Who was it? Oh, is that
Edwards?
Alderman Edwards, go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I think a good opportunity would be to have splash pads, or a splash pad. I mentioned that in my survey that I filled out. I thought it was unfortunate that the streets of Indian Lake took away that splash pad. So maybe that's something we can have in the parks, maybe at the Beatty Farm, maybe at Memorial Park. So that's something we could look into. It may not be cost effective. I know the maintenance on that must be difficult. And going back to strengths, I forgot after I mentioned the strengths and somebody mentioned programs and special needs. I think a big strength of the parks is our special needs and what they provide. And that's with Andy Gilley and Cindy Hamlin, and somebody who has a son with special needs and real involved in the special needs community. We certainly appreciate everything the Parks Department does for our special needs parents. And I speak on behalf of all special needs parents. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Alderman Edwards, thank you. Alderman Robertson.
Opportunities, is that where we're at?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm going to list several things because, and we may be doing a bang up job there. I just don't know. So just to throw out some ideas so that the staff and you can look at them. So I'd like to really look at, are we maximizing revenue potential? Are we going after all the grants? Are there some grants out there that maybe that we don't know about? So, and also user fees. Now I know that the golf course recently increased green fees and golf carts to raise more money. So is there potential, and this is probably something good the Parks Board could do, is there an area where we could increase user fees to help offset some of the improvements that we need to make? I also would like to explore the possibility of advertising. I know that, well, you can look at Nissan Stadium, for example. You know, there may be some opportunities for advertising that maybe we're not taking advantage of. So explore advertising opportunities. Look what best practices, what other cities are doing to try to maximize advertising, and also on concerts. Is there revenue potential for the city on that? And then last, corporate sponsorships. Is it possible that the Predators could donate something and have some naming rights on the new inline hockey rinks? I'm sure that the staff has explored that, but I have to throw that out. As far as facilities, I'd like for us to take better advantage of Sanders Park by the lake. A couple of years ago, the Chamber did a concert there, and we went out. It was gorgeous. It's a wonderful place for such venues. And there was plenty of land for parking. I don't know what the Corps has restrictions or not, but I'd like for us to use that land more, as well as the Beatty Farm land. That's a great asset right in the middle of the city. And finally, we've talked about it before, I think we have a lot of opportunities at the lake. We just got this fishing tournament, but I agree that I think Alderman Cunningham, that I think that that's a real potential because people love the lake. A lot of people that are moving into the city, first of all, they always state low taxes. That's all of them, especially California, while they're coming here for low taxes. But also the lake. They mentioned the lake. So I think that has a lot of potential for us as well and opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Robertson. Dr. Tom, did you want to talk about this one, or what did I?
No. This is for opportunities. Just two quick ones. So one is, I think, about building right off of Alderman Robertson's point about maximizing revenues and grants. I think there's probably some fantastic opportunities to centralize grant support or pooling resources. The grant department for the Parks Department is Andy Gilley, and so trying to maximize his time. And he's a busy gentleman. We could, I think, certainly find opportunities across departments to put in for more grants and be more successful with the grants that we are putting in for. And second opportunity, if you look at how popular and how much revenue that one turf field for baseball brings in, some more turf opportunities, some more turf fields I would have to think more than pay for themselves because of how popular they would be. We'd find many more tournament opportunities, I believe, even than we do now, by having turf fields for soccer or for football or for a range of different sports. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. Alderman Collins.
Like Alderman Edwards, I am a parent of a special needs child, and I have seen in the special needs community and the groups that I'm in, a lot of talk about Mary's Magical Place being very crowded and overwhelming and sometimes unwelcoming for kids, and in particular, older teenagers or even adults who still play on that type of play equipment and people whose disabilities are not visible. So those that they're playing alongside don't recognize their differences. And I think there's a great opportunity for us to do some education about those type of things and just kind of remind people that that park is for us to share and be inclusive of the special needs community so that they can kind of teach their kids to conduct themselves in a more appropriate way while they're playing.
Alderman Collins, thank you. I don't see anybody else.
All right. I think we hit on most of these. That's great. All right, finally, threats. We talked about weaknesses, opportunities. What do you think some of the threats are to those opportunities specifically moving forward?
So typically I think of an idea after we've moved on. This is one that I sort of held on to. I think we see a greater threat in almost professionalism of youth sports. And the expectation that kids focus on one activity early on. And the way that and part of the mechanism that happens is a professionalism in youth sports coaching. And it's something that could really change what we offer in our parks capabilities. When we have really what has become really that has moved that direction, and it no longer suits really what we provide in our parks, recreation and local travel teams. And it may not be so much a threat; it's just something we might just have to get used to.
Sure.
I don't see anyone else.
No,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay. I just
Alderman
said it
Dixon, go
right.
ahead.
Right as you
Okay.
I'm gonna be the unpopular one again. And I always have to put this on here. The threat is the fact that it's money again. It's what happens. The threat is the economy. Okay. If we have a downturn in the economy, how are we going to maintain our parks? That's the threat.
Go back to you. Oh, hold on. Jeremiah.
Yeah, piggyback on that last comment as well. I think it can be an arms race in this, just because we have to keep up with demand, and not just the fields themselves, but also the staff, making sure their pay is appropriate, making sure that we are competitive compared to other cities that are at the level that we are. I think that would be a big threat to lose some people like that if they're not compensated to where they need to be. Thank you.
Jeremiah, thank you. Alderman Cunningham.
Thank you, Mayor. I just think the short-term threat, and we all know about this, to save Mary's Magical Place from any future water damage and any further destruction. So we need to get on with our plan to be able to shore that up and move the inline hockey and just move forward on all those. And I know our parks team is working diligently to make that happen. So that's the only threat that I can see, and not only threat, but one of the major threats to one of our largest assets in the parks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Cunningham. That's all.
All right, a couple questions here in case there's anything else left. Do you think there's any competition that the department is having with other service providers here locally?
Sort of the ones I mentioned there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Alderman Robertson.
I guess I'm not, I've never played hockey or inline. I wouldn't get on roller skates to save my life, but I don't know what kind of threat the new ice rinks that are being planned. I don't know if that's a threat to our inline hockey or if it's a complement. So that might be something to explore. If it is a threat, how can we turn that around to an opportunity?
Sure. That's a great point. We were talking with staff about that today, actually.
Thank you, Alderman Robertson.
Any other obstacles? Think 10 years from now as well, get your crystal balls out. Anything regarding population growth or any changes you see that could be an obstacle?
Dr. Tom?
Yeah, sportsmanship, I think, is a huge threat if we cannot get behind it. We have, of course, our program in the Parks Department, Honor the Game, that looks to try to create, sort of social pressure on culture and in awarding good behavior. We know nationwide, and certainly we've seen it even locally, that we've got a lot of referees and umpires walking away from the game because they receive so much abuse. And if we don't have good officials, we can't run programs and we can't run leagues. We can't do a whole variety of things unless ultimately it just becomes a really bad place to be. We also know that kids, 75% of youth athletes are done by age 13 because it's not fun anymore. And so I think if we really want to think about creating a place here in Hendersonville that is known for positive sports culture and positive coaching culture, then we have to lean into it more than just at a programmatic level. It has to be something that is emphasized across the board. And so that is, I think, I see that as a major threat. We in the Parks Board get discipline reports, and of course we're seeing it. And of course everybody sees it, and they just go down to the field. Sometimes they hear the yelling and the screaming, and that's a threat that we have to address and be real about. Thank you.
Alderman Peterson.
I think one of the biggest threats that we will face down the road, if not right now, is capacity of the existing parks. And, where is the future? And can we expand our programs? Is there land available? Land's not cheap. And, I don't know if that would be maybe a public-private partnership to find more land so we can increase fields and opportunities and look at other options that we have. And that's something that probably needs to be addressed sooner than later.
Alderman Peterson, thank you. I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank you very much. This was very helpful. Again, it's great to hear some consistent messages, both from staff and other stakeholders we've talked to over the last couple of weeks. And so very much appreciate your all's input, and look forward to sharing some of our results with you. And don't forget the shameless plug for our public survey. Please make sure you fill it out, all your friends and family and everyone that will be a great resource as well. So
Alicia, can you pull up the code you had and the website? Jason, I don't know how you can tell me this also, but how can people see this video? I've sort of been following along online a little bit, but how can people see it later?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And while I'm going through these slowly, going backwards, please, everyone in attendance, hopefully we can note who's on Zoom, but also the sign-in sheet for anyone in person. Again, that helps with our grant application support as well. So here's the survey.
Okay, so we're gonna leave that up there for a second. More than a second. Okay. Okay.
QR code. Yep.
Okay, I'm looking to the folks. There we go. I'm looking to the folks online. Doesn't seem like anybody else wishes to speak. Anybody here? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nathan.
Thank you. One thing that I'm not really sure where this would come in, if it's a weakness or an opportunity, but we've talked about the staff quite a bit. And the staff in general, from Director Gilley all the way down to the seasonals, It's not just a job. They take pride in what they do. They lead by example. The full-time guys down at the fields, the part-time people feed off of them. And this will be, go along with Alderman Dixon's maybe unpopular statement, that I would ask that you guys consider spending some dollars to take care of these people. I was down at the park the other morning, and as Bubba said, make no mistake, I am not part of the running club. The story goes, if you see me running, try to keep up. But I was down there talking to one of the guys, and one of the maintenance guys came by in a pickup truck, and I'm not sure the truck was going to make it very far. It was making some pretty bad noises, and he was coming to get one of the other guys to go help because the dump truck had died. It seems to be that, we get hand-me-down stuff, and that's great. We love it. But sometimes when things get put in the budget, that's an easy item to cut. It's a lump sum number, but I would like to have these guys provided the equipment to do the job that they're doing because they love doing it. And I've had the opportunity to both go with my boys playing all over the Southeast and Midwest, and I've been an umpire for 30 some years, going all over the place. This is one of the best park systems out there. It absolutely is. And it's what makes people want to come here. The other thing is the parking lot's touched on a lot. I won't touch on it long, but it was real busy out there the other night, and it pulled in and it looked like a 4-year-old had been playing Tetris. People were just kind of parking everywhere. It was kind of hard to see the lines, trying to avoid the holes. So I guess I'm just asking for you guys to fund some of these things to take care of these people that are bringing in a lot of money to the city. One more thing, turf fields were mentioned. Incredible revenue generating opportunity if we can find the money to do it. My boys have played on turf fields. We've been in a torrential downpour that would have finished off the day here, and we were playing in about 45 minutes. Teams will travel if they know they're going to get their games in. Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Mike?
On that, turf fields are a big deal, and I think it's a money generator and a revenue generator in 2 ways. One, it brings people here. 2, it lowers maintenance. So if there's a way we can really look at that in the next 2, 3, 5 years, whatever it takes, it makes that park distinct from most of the parks that I know of around our general area, and much out further than that. For somebody who's played softball spent a great deal of time playing softball, probably most of my life, like with Bubba. I've been to a lot of fields that were maybe a 2 compared to our 10. And it makes a big difference, guys.
Thanks, Mike. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Appreciate that, Alicia. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate that, Jason. Y'all have a good night. Thank y'all.